Hello, Enneagram grammar people. Happy to be here. I don't know how people can lead can leave oh my gosh, a video of less than 10 minutes. That blows my mind. My name's Annie O'Shaughnessy, and I'm gonna give a little preface to this. This is not my first rodeo. So I started learning about the Enneagram in 2000 with introduced I was introduced to it by a energy medicine healer, Reiki and other energy medicine work, and he thought I was a 4. And I went to his retreats. There were 3-day retreats with a group of 12 people, and it was a very oral tradition taught with movement and meditation, and it was really powerful. And he, did I just say that? I'm tired. He typed me as a 4, and there was as my reading and learning continued. I've read tons of books. I haven't gone to too many workshops. I questioned that all. I just kept taking tests online. They all came out as 7. And then I put it aside. I was just frustrated. I put it aside. I originally used the Enneagram, and this is, I think, reflective of me, an amazing tool to figure people out. And I would say manipulate people to get their support, to avoid conflict. And honestly, it's miraculous in that way. So interestingly, I've been more interested in the other types than really just like, why didn't I put my foot down 10 years ago and just say, damn it, I'm going to hire somebody who knows. I'm going to keep looking till I find myself. I don't know. I want to know, but with each type that I've visited and someone has told me, I've learned all about it, and I've gone on the growth path and looked at my blind spots, and it's helped my growth path, of course. I mean, 4, ordinariness. Can we just be with ordinariness? That was a great meditation for 4 years. 7, can we just stay in the present moment? That was an amazing experience. So many things about 7. But since then, what's changed all this, and why I'm here with you in particular, is because 3 years ago, my father died. All sorts of stuff happened. Of course, COVID, and I went into, at the bequest of my grown daughter, into therapy. And again, I hated therapy, could talk circles around the therapist. And then I found another therapist. And this time I said, I don't want sympathy. I don't want you to help me reframe. I don't need help with that. What I want you to do is to get in there and find out what the fuck is going on. Because there's shit at work in me that I don't understand, and I want to know, and I want to heal. And I have done a ton of work. I've done vision fasts, and I've done a lot of energy work, and huge shifts have happened. I actually want to be on this earth now. For years, I just felt this tiny thread attaching me to this earth, and just beam me up, Scotty. No one gave me the manual for this crazy ass place, right? I have dreams about apocalypse. When I was little, scary shit. However, I have an idealized version of my childhood, so I must be a 7. Anyways, there's for everything I say, there's another thing opposite. So anyways, in that EMDR, I did EMDR for 3 years, and she was a badass. We did some digging and healing, and it was incredibly hard. And wow, I'm a very different person now, and it's beautiful. Not that I'm completely better, but yeah, wow, EMDR is something else. So through that, we learned that I have complex trauma. Have it. It's such a weird verb. I experience complex trauma, and I have ADHD, which makes so much sense. But at 59, we didn't talk about that stuff. So I think the ADHD is related really explain the 7 traits. But the rest is a little messy. And so I'm here with you because I think that you folks have really creative minds and are willing to look at the Enneagram in ways that a lot of other people aren't. And I like it. I believe in it. But if I'm going to continue, I'm taking a trauma-informed Enneagram coaching course for the second time from Ingrid Hurwitz. And I just can't proceed. I don't want to proceed in this world without having a deep understanding of how to map myself. And it's complex out there. So I've been trying to learn a lot, listen to a lot of your podcasts, and big hormone Enneagram. And I feel like I've come a long way. And the further I go down the rabbit hole, the more I want to know what folks like you would think about what I got going on as core type, tri-type, and stacking, and anything else you have to say. So thank you. Thanks for listening to this a little bit longer video. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I would love to put a cap on this, and I really am not attached to anything. Like, if I really dislike 2s, but if I'm a 2, oh well, like that's where I'm at. So let's give it a go. First of all, red, it's not a color I like. Here's something about me. Best and worst quality. I'm just going to start there. Best quality is I just make do with what I got. I was the youngest of 7 kids born in 10 years. And my mom, Brett, kind of narcissistic, really. She was a snowball queen. My dad was a football coach. Anyways, really hard for me not to go on tangents because I have a pretty fascinating story. Anyhow, I raised myself pretty much, raised feral. That has made me incredibly resourceful, adaptable, and thus I wear people's clothes that they give me even if I don't really like them. I'm not really a fan of red. Green is my favorite color. Okay. God, good luck listening to this. My biggest interest in hobbies. Okay, I'm going to stay straight here. My biggest interest, I'm going to have to do there's 2 huge parts to my life. Pre-healing, post-healing. Okay. Through lines, I'm going to try to mention those the most. Most consistent thing I've loved is nature. I love to be in nature and use my body in nature. I love to smell the dirt. I love to lay in the moss. I love to work my body in nature, so building a trail, swimming across a wilderness lake, canoeing in northern Canada, hiking, bushwhacking, getting myself lost, finding myself. My hobby and my interest is exploring and taking in the beauty of the natural world. I love the silence. And this has always been true of me. I've loved my own little cozy places. I love looking at mushrooms that grow orange. And anyways, I can say a lot about that. Hobbies don't connect too much to that word. I feel like I have a hard time doing hobbies because I think I need to earn my oxygen. That's also another through line. Like I gotta do good work. I gotta be a useful person. Useful people don't have hobbies. Useful people work. It so happens that my hobby is my work. Always kind of has been. Crafting a livelihood that is meaningful, that serves something greater than myself, has been the biggest constant in my life, I would say, along with nature. So I work in schools of restorative justice, implementing restorative justice and trauma-informed practices, mindfulness. I do that in a very practical way. So I'm not airy-fairy. I'm really good kind of speaking to people who think it is all airy-fairy and make it like, no, this is just the way the brain works. We need to connect. So I do a lot of circle work. And that circle work is actually, I'd call it a hobby, I guess. Been doing it since 1934. 1934? Since I was 34. which was terrifying. I was an athlete. I was a collegiate rower and athlete, and I didn't want to join a circle. I got kicked out of my first circle, actually. They thought I was too hard. I didn't have any soft skills. So yeah, when I was young, I was a mountain rescue person. So my hobby was, I loved adventure sports. I still do. It's not that I like to be scared or I'm like throwing myself at what I'm afraid of, consciously anyways. I love the clarity of mind that comes with physical challenge. So ice climbing. You cannot think about anything else while you're ice climbing. So if you're ice climbing all day, you're not thinking about anything all day. So for me, adventure sports, endurance sports, rock climbing, ice climbing, wilderness canoeing, those things are a respite from, it's just peaceful. It's peaceful there. So I love it. I love to feel strong. I sure do. I was born strong. I have incredible genetics. I don't need to train much. I hate the gym. I hate it. You could not get me to an exercise class after people go to work and then they go to an exercise class where there's really loud music and people screaming at them. I just don't get that at all. I mean, good on them for getting exercise, but oh my God, I'd kill somebody. But I can go, I've been a lot to a club in the winter here. Winters are hard. You get on a stepper. People stare at me because I just like go at it. And I'm kind of like a greyhound that way. If I have the opportunity to use my body, I'm just going to go all in. And I actually ended up in the hospital when I was younger as a rower for work, pushing my body too hard. But I fucking love that feeling of just totally expending myself. Every cell in my body just feels expelled. Love that. But I've had to cut that down. So yeah, I work on exercising less. But I'm not someone who like looks at their watch and takes their pulse and their times. And no, I'm just like a little kid out there. I just want to run and play. Okay. Am I assertive? I'm assertive when people are in trouble. I was a mountain rescue person. If there's someone off the road, to this day, I'm an EMT as well, but long past expired, I will stop. I will help. That goes along with my pet peeve. I can't stand it when people just really have their thumbs up their ass and just won't help other people or offer solutions. So I'm pretty classic at that stereotype. I think it's a 6. I'm pretty sure it's a 6. The rescuer, maybe? I don't know, the tri-type. But I do get a lot of satisfaction out of problem solving, but more to do with physical stuff. So you got a car that you can't pack, you got too much stuff. And I've actually done this so many times. People are like, I can't fit it all. I'm like, let me in there. Let me in there. I can do it. And so yeah, I have a lot of pride around my physical abilities to fix things. To carry a canoe 5 miles, to do those things. I can do that. I was raised in a family where you were not loved. You would be humiliated if you couldn't just do stuff. You just do it. I can't describe to you how important that is in my family. And how much being part of my family and not being left behind was dependent upon me doing scary shit. Like, or hard stuff. I could tell you, climbing mountains and canoeing and all this stuff that we had to do. And you had to suck it up and you couldn't complain. So all 7 of us don't complain or say I can't or I don't know. But we're all different personalities. Okay. I'm assertive when there is injustice. I'm much more outspoken now. But even when I was young, I could speak up in those situations, and that would be unusual. Otherwise, I was a freaking really good, straight A, Irish Catholic school kid. I cleaned a nun's, convent. to get on their good side. I would walk into a space, and I was assertive in, here I am, I'm going to be in the front row, I'm going to figure you out, teacher, and I'm going to figure out how to get your support. You know, I have to make connections during this to the Enneagram, because I have really entertained this idea. No one's typed me as a 2, and I'm like, I work all the time I garner support. I'm really good at it. I can talk to anybody. I can befriend anybody. But I don't use flattery. Maybe I do. I don't know. Like, maybe it's just that word. Yeah, it's a different kind of way I operate. That just, I zone in on who I need to be, kind of like a 3 might. Morph. I do a lot of morphing. Okay, sorry. Here I am. Rabbit hole of typing myself. You're going to relieve me of this. This is your job, to type me. Okay, next. Best and worst quality. You can throw me into any situation and I am going to shine warmly. As many mistakes as I've made and how much I've beat myself up for. I've had affairs with weak people, in particular, weak men who let me, when I was young, men who let me walk on them, doormats, no boundaries. I would push them. I would cheat on them, and then when they wouldn't, like my first husband just said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, it must be their fault," or I don't know. He didn't even get upset with me. I was like, this is doomed. I need boundaries. Could be because I was feral as well. Like the whole disorganized attachment thing, I need to be able to feel you, like, to feel safe with you. But anyways, best, oh God. Again, okay. Focus. Best quality is I take myself lightly. I receive feedback, especially this part of my life, really well. Really curious, really dedicated to learning, to being a good person, to helping others, to helping a cause, particularly the underdog. I accept challenges really well. And I kind of go along with people. I make connections really fast. I have a good brain, although I have had a traumatic brain injury. Thus, some of that's going on right now is not just ADHD, it is a brain injury. So you can throw me into a situation, you can count on me to thrive. Like I was given a job when I was young at a landscaping place, and the men were not happy, and they tried to get rid of me by giving me a harder task every day, including running like the dump truck without telling me how to use it, and the digger, like all these things. I just figured it out and showed them, and by the end they loved me. So that's a really good snapshot of my modus operandi, is I'm going to show you. Also, that happened with climbing. I asked the head of the climbing school, how come there's no women who guide ice? It was before women were really climbing ice. And he said, there's no women who are fast enough or strong enough to do this, because you need to be fast in the winter so the client doesn't freeze. And I was like, oh yeah? And I showed them. Okay, but assertive otherwise in intimate relationships, no way. Not till recently, to tell you the truth, which is sad. The moments I've been assertive in my intimate relationships and with my family have come with great inner turmoil, terror, and drama. I would say, like, if I finally get to the point of asserting myself, as I did with my 8 partner. So after my first marriage, I ended up with a brilliant, difficult, genius 8. Grew so much with that man. But in the end, I just said, I would rather live in a shack than work this hard. We partnered in business. And he accused me of something. I don't know. And I threw a wine bottle, broke it. Accused me of lying or something. So it takes a lot for me to assert my needs in a relationship, and when I do, pre-EMDR, comes with a lot of emotional, like, heft. So that's been the big split, and the most difficult split for me, and the most shame-inducing split is I am a badass in the world. I run businesses. I get promoted. I've started a couple businesses, right? I'm successful. I'm resourceful. I'm assertive, and then I'm kind of addicted to intimate relationships. I think I've been single 6 months in my life since I was 14. I had 3 marriages, the last one successful, post healing. And I'm just, I'm a wimp. I'm a wimp, terrified I have been a wimp, terrified of this person's response. So I'm just gonna twist myself into the best possible partner I can be, and I've done that so well most of my life that it's worked, but at a huge cost, as you can imagine. Ideal place to live in the world, right here. I'm very, very excited, because talk about asserting yourself. On the growth path 3 years ago, one of the first things EMDR gave me was this ability, which was to convince my 5 husband that we were going to build a new house, because we needed a warm house, and I was going to design it and be the general contractor, and he was balking for good reason. But I built these spreadsheets, baby, that showed like how much our current house would have cost to fix, because it was built in 1840, relative to what the house would cost. And I like projected it out 20 years, and he was sold. And oh my God, I get choked up, because there's only a couple times in my life that I've really like allowed myself to want something. I know it's Enneagram type connected, of course, somehow, some way, but like as a youngest of 7, like you just don't get your own shit. You get hand-me-downs, and maybe something you buy, you get a gift, it gets ruined. You just learn not to be attached and not to want anything, thus not having goals. I wasn't really allowed to have goals. So to want this house, and to get it, and then to have it it's a small, cozy house. It's really something. So the ideal place is very cozy, simple, open, and then outside I've love flowers and gardening. Built my own garden, and then you walk a little further and you go through neighbors' yards, and we make down to the streams, and there's about 5 brooks, and then you can hike some more, and you get to Mount Mansfield, Green Mountains. You can hike 15 miles away, which I do sometimes, 25 miles away, with no roads. It's amazing. This is my dream. When I was 8, I dreamed of, like, literally, daydreamed and longed. Actually, it was my goal to homestead, to live in the wilderness with a partner and raise my family there. So anyways, I got that as much as I can. Biggest pet peeve. When I started, I started circle work professionally in 2000, and it was super important for me, and did a lot of healing, because it was a structured way for me to have a voice without anyone responding. Pet peeve. Emoting and someone trying to fix it. So if I'm got a tear, and you come up to me and says, "Oh, it's okay, you can cry," I will want to punch you. I don't get that. Why? Yeah, that's a hard one, especially in a circle. That's like a no-no. If someone cries in a circle and someone leans over and says, "Oh, are you okay?" Ah! Okay, so that's a big pet peeve. And so thus the distaste for 2s who can't seem to help themselves. So very interesting. If I'm a 2, that would be that'd be hard, but hey, who knows? And then helplessness, learned helplessness around, like, the printer's broken. Oh, when did it break? Last week. Did you call anybody? No. that's happened as a boss. And then also pet peeve. I mean, I made it a commitment at age 13 to not have pet peeves. I committed at age 13. I remember it. I said, you know what? Oh, I know. I know how to be happy in this life. I just need to learn how not to be annoyed at anybody. I can be like Buddha. I don't know why I learned about Buddha, but I was interested in being Buddha or Jesus. And I was like, yeah, and also, if I just learn to love everybody, I'll never be alone. Because everyone loves to be loved. So, and also then I don't have to be anything special. Anyways, yeah, so that was a goal. Biggest pet peeve, I really don't have that many. But I think people who have a lot of pet peeves, like my mom cannot keep her mouth shut about that person who plays with their hair. Why do they play with their hair so much? I don't get it. She tells me like once a week for 6 months about the person who does the hair, or the person who laughs too much, or says, or, she just picks on whatever is the latest thing she has and perseverates on it forever. So that's a pet peeve of mine. And complaining. I'm not a good complainer or venter. So that screwed me up. People think I'm a 7 because I'm pretty upbeat, optimistic. I see the best in people. Try to. Yeah. My greatest life goals, to be kind of like Buddha, to be Jesus. I definitely, at a young age, wasn't really loved Jesus, although he wrecked that marketplace. So that's why I loved him. He had his moments, of incredible anger. He wasn't perfect. I don't want to be perfect. This is not my goal. My goal is to figure out other people so that I can interact with them in a way that is mutually beneficial. Because if you ask my past partners, they wouldn't say I was a mouse. I wasn't. I'm a dynamic person. I'm a big personality. Some people have called me too much, intense, and funny, and very sexual. Although that got really kind of derailed with the trauma. Because it went from, I'll never forget, you all appreciate this, maybe you'll relate. I will never forget the first time I came in contact with another person's naked skin, skinny dipping when I was like 14. And I remember the next day we made out and fooled around. It was like one of my first encounters. And I remember thinking the next day, why isn't the entire world just naked all the time? Just like, why are we all in a big pile of lovely flesh? It just blew my mind that we weren't all doing that. And I didn't have any shame about any of it because I just wasn't parented, so I didn't get that. Anyways, another tangent. Okay, life's goals. My goal right now my goal has always been to be of service, I would say. It started out as trying to compensate for mistakes. It definitely has something to do with needing to feel like I'm useful and people want me around. I know that's at the heart of it, maybe. But at a higher level, higher consciousness, I want my life to be of use to the world. So changing schools and making them more human is really part of my jam. And it's hard, but I do enjoy it a great deal. I've never been able to do non-meaningful work. I've done non-meaningful work and I've made it meaningful by creating interesting projects or getting involved in some of the strategy or elevating myself. That never works well. I do not like being in the spotlight, although I always end up in it. I'm now kind of cured that as well. I'm a boss. I'm an executive director, and I run a college program for holistic restorative education, which was assertive. I just wrote to them and said, I think you need to teach teachers better how to deal with behaviors. So here's a program I can run, and they accepted it. Most stressful time in my life, when my ideal life disappeared. So my ego got its perfect life. I left my first marriage, met that 8. He had worked in Wall Street, had survived cancer, had lost all his money, but had started this magazine called Hair and Dance that explored the beauty of the natural world, celebrated the beauty of the natural world, and explored what it meant to live your truth. And so we interviewed people all around the country and the world on this topic and wrote. And during that time, I discovered that I was a really excellent writer. And this 8 in my life would read a draft, and sometimes he'd say, this is great. Other times he'd say, this is bullshit. You're not telling the truth here. And I learned over those 8 years the importance of telling the truth. I learned so much from him. And what really, really made me happy, my ego happy, this is ego, was I got letters every week from people saying, I read your writing to my dying father. I read your writing got me through cancer. Like, these were really heartfelt things. And like that cancer one, it came with a $10,000 check to the nonprofit, which is what it was. One of my readers was so grateful. He paid for half of my graduate education program, but just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of letters saying what you're doing matters, and your authenticity matters. So my style of writing was very it was creative nonfiction, I would say. People say it was similar to Elizabeth Gilbert. All that makes me gag, but yeah, I hate even to say that, but it had that style to it. I was just telling my story. All right, that was the happiest time my ego had. Then he left. Then shit hit the fan. My personality freaked out. My identity, it's fucked up. We could go into that some other time. The happiest part of my life began when I threw an avocado, a ripe one, across the room and hit my partner, this boyfriend of mine, in between, in the chest, and made this noise. He was a narcissist. He was genius. He was bonkers. And I stayed with him for 3 years because he was threatening to kill himself. And I was not willing to abandon this man because I was supposed to be a good person. Anyways, at that point, he was holding this knife across his wrist, and I just threw this avocado at him and said, I am not responsible for your life. So I'm out of here. I don't know what happened to him. That's huge for me. And the air changed around me, and never, like, my life and how I felt in it changed profoundly. And my life became happy after that. And I don't even, happy, I don't know. Happy's something that comes and goes, right? But my life became healthy. My mind became rested, and I became contented, even though I was living in the freezing cold loft space of a friend with no money, really, at age 43. But yeah, this right now, this is the happiest part of my life, is understanding and healing a bunch of this stuff and feeling some contentment, and gratitude, incredible gratitude, and trust, really trust. I have a lot of trust now. So it's now. What's the best time in your life? Now. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more I could say, and I appreciate all the time you take listening to these. Really helpful. If I'm going to carry on the Enneagram world as a coach or whatever, which I do want to do, I need to know what there is to know about my type, and I have landed on 6 as a counter type, but man, does it piss me off that I don't see myself reflected in a lot of the descriptions. So I took your test online, and I didn't even know I was on the 6th page when I was clicking these statements, and I teared up, to tell you the truth. You'll see those results, I'm sure. You can see them. But that is the first test where I didn't know really what, I knew that if I thought about it, I could have. understood, of course, that's you're testing for 6 there, but he just avoided all the tropes, all the cliches, and I just appreciate that so much because you're trying to answer honestly. And anyways, all right, good people. I appreciate you. Look forward to the results, and you're welcome to look at all my other crazy. I don't have many crazy videos on my channel, but there's one of me and my son dancing at his wedding, which is pretty damn awesome. Okay, I'm tired. Thank you. Bye.